Hello and welcome to Is This Your Card? Today we're going to be looking at Jungle Moonkin. Jungle Moonkin was released in the League of Explorers Epic Adventure, which finally got released after a week of delay. The Jungle Moonkin is a 4-cost 4/4, which is pretty nice. It does have a very interesting effect though. Both players have spell power +2. Now I know what you're thinking. Do both players? But that means you're buffing your enemy. Yes, you are buffing your enemy. But sometimes that's alright, and sometimes it's probably the worst thing you've ever done in the history of Hearthstone. For example, you do not want to be playing a Jungle Moonkin against any spell-heavy class that is likely to have damaging or even healing spells. So you probably don't want to be playing it against a mage, or a warlock. But against someone like a warrior, it's a safer bet. Even against someone like a paladin, it's a reasonably safe bet, assuming they don't have consecrates, though they probably will. The fact of the matter is, a 4-cost 4/4 that gives you 2 spell power is really good. You just have to hope your opponent doesn't have any spells in your hand if you want to make this card work. I can't see many practical applications of this card against players, simply because the risk is really high. Almost every class has some form of powerful damaging spell. Hunter's Explosive Trap probably doesn't benefit from spell damage, but its multi-shot does. Even a Warrior's Whirlwind becomes up to 3 damage with this, which is horribly devastating. Mortal Strike does tons more damage as well, so even playing against a Warrior isn't necessarily a safe bet. It really depends on what kind of deck you're playing against, and you don't know that unless, well, it's obvious because it's one of those annoying meta decks you run into every now and again. The fact of the matter is, Jungle Moonkin is incredible value. A 4/4 for 4 and 2 spell power is one of the single best minions in the game. Compare it to Ogre Magi, it's 1+ spell power, though it is druid specific. The downside is that 2 spell power to your opponent. The real practical application of this card is going to be against bosses, in solo adventures, against people who don't have damaging spells, or who giving extra spell power to isn't going to be the end of the world for you. Because this extra little bit of edge is sometimes all you need to secure a powerful victory. 2 of them on the board give you +4 spell power over 2 cards. That's really good. It makes playing a druid spell deck a lot more viable. Just one Jungle Moonkin turns Starfall, which is a 5-cost card that either does 5 damage to a single minion or 2 damage to all minions, turns it into 7 damage to a single minion or 4 damage as an AoE. That's 2 mana less than Flame Strike with the same AoE damage. It's almost as good as Flame Lance is. But Jungle Moonkin, you should never play outside of a spell-based deck, because you don't want to be putting down a 4/4 that gives you spell power if you've got no spells to use, and that gives your opponent spell power, because that's terrible. This card is only useful if you're running damaging spells, or spells that become a hell of a lot better when you give them just that little bit of edge. Things like Living Roots are the perfect combination with this card, because suddenly it's deal 4 damage, which is amazing for 1 mana. Truth be told, I'll probably never use this card outside of a gimmick deck or a directly spell-based deck, but I can definitely see the interest and intrigue behind this card. Giving your opponent spell power has never been done before, but I don't think this card is going to be played very much.